Good morning, good people. I hope you can see me. I just want to check if you can. Did I go live? I thought I did. Oh, I thought I was live. Okay, I'm supposed to be live. What's going on? What is going on? Okay, I am live. Good morning, good people, and welcome to this glorious morning. It's a beautiful Thursday morning. Good morning, Alice. Good morning, Joanna. How are you? How are you today? Alice, how is home? How is home? Okay, so I have a somewhat interesting topic for today, and I would really appreciate you guys to chime in when you can. So I wanted to talk about some of the things that are normalized in society, but I don't think people understand the impact it has on us physically or mentally. And I have a few things that came to my mind, but if I forgot something, please let me know. So the first thing is very good. Home is good. I'm still in bed. Oh, nice one. Sometimes we need those mornings where we're just inside bed. I'm all good. I'm busy right now. I'll have to join back in 10 minutes because the topic is interesting. Okay, Joanna. I will be waiting for you. Thank you for joining. Thank you so much. So, the first thing I want to talk about is how easy or normalized it is for people to just speak on other people's weight, right? I think for a lot of people are comfortable with speaking about other people's weight, not knowing that it might be an insecurity for people. Okay, so good morning and thank you for coming to greet us. I hope you have a lovely day at school. Yeah, so for example, in my society in Zimbabwe, a a person doesn't even greet you. They'll be like, "Oh, you've gained weight," or "Oh, you've lost weight." That's not a greeting, guys. Commenting on a person's weight is not a greeting. Good morning, Makado. Good morning. How are you? I think that, for example, people don't know the reasons behind you gaining weight or losing weight, or if you're just comfortable in your body, right? Imagine I have been so comfortable in my weight gain. I like how I'm looking, and then someone just says, "Oh, you've gained weight." Then I start feeling insecure about my weight, and I don't think that's fair, but it's something that has been normalized in society so much. And also, I don't know where people, for example, if it's a family member who comes to you and says, "Oh, is everything okay? Maybe you've lost weight. Is everything okay? Are you stressed out?" They are saying it out of concern for you and your health and your mental health. But if it's a random person who just comments, "Oh, you've lost weight, oh, you've gained weight," they don't actually know what's going on in your life and they don't know if they're feeding into your insecurities or not. So, yeah, I think that's number one for me. I don't like it when people comment on people's weight. So, Joanna said, "I spoke with my friend about this. For me, weight is insecurity. I've never been this size, and my self-esteem is low, and because of that, due to health reasons, I'm struggling to lose it now. Exactly. So I don't understand why someone who doesn't know your background, who doesn't know what you're going through at the moment, someone who just sees um, a flash of you. So maybe they see you after a month or they see you after 2 months. They're not even intuitive about what's going on with you, and the first thing they talk about is your weight. It doesn't make sense to me. Okay, so the next point I had, I put them in a list because I was very, very concerned about this. Okay, yeah, the next thing I wanted to talk about was, yeah, Joanna, very, very offensive, extremely offensive. I don't know why people feel comfortable speaking about that. The second thing I wanted to talk about, maybe it's similar to what we were speaking about last week, but was it last week or on Monday? I think I went live twice this week. I'm so proud of myself. So it has to do with siblings and comparing siblings. And in the last live, Mushle commented and she was speaking about one of her family members who was commenting on her daughters and how it affected how the daughters thought about each other, right? And I thought this was very important because I remember when I was growing up, I have three siblings and I have a lot of cousins, like a plethora of cousins from my mother's side and my father's side. And we lived in close proximity to each other. And because of that, we were always together. And any time that maybe our aunts or our uncles would come, they would make slight comments about us, our appearance. For example, maybe they'll point out one cousin and they'll say, "Oh, she's very beautiful," or "Oh, um, she has a gorgeous skin," or you're the most beautiful, right? And I understand that you are trying to compliment one child, right? But when you do it in the presence of other children, it's like, why are you only saying she's beautiful? Does it mean I'm ugly? Because as a child, you don't understand that people are beautiful in their own ways. For example, I had a beautiful, beautiful, dark skinned cousin. She was gorgeous. Like, she's late now, but she was gorgeous. And my aunt said, "Oh, you're a black beauty." I'm not dark skinned. But the immediate thing I said was, and she was older than me, my cousin was older than me. The immediate thing I said was, "Am I also not a black beauty?" Because to me it was like, oh, am I not also beautiful? So yeah, small things like that I think affects children a lot more than we know, especially if it's siblings. When it comes to education as well, like, oh, this one is smart, oh, this one is very good at maths, oh, this one is very good at she speaks English very well. It's good to compliment your children and it's good to compliment like your cousins, but also understand that the way you say it might affect the other children. Okay. Good morning, Linda. How are you? Yes, it's so offensive. Dre, it irritates me to the core. My brother used to say to me, "Soon we will take you to TLC, my six." Are you serious? I would be very offended, especially if I've been like this chubby my whole life. Wow. I think that people people think it's funny. That's the problem. People think it's funny to joke about things that other people could be insecure about, right? Like you said, you've been chubby your whole life. Okay, so it might be a joke that is funny to them, but it's not funny to you. And yeah, it's yeah, I don't know. Those jokes aren't funny to me. Yes, and I remember Lunisile was talking about um, some jokes that are too offensive or too serious because they talk about something that you are actually going through. And yeah, I don't think those jokes are funny. For example, like for me, that's not funny at all. And yeah, it's someone you're close to, and I'm pretty sure you've told him multiple times, look, stop talking about that. Oh, it's not funny. But yeah, people sometimes just don't get it, unfortunately. But yeah, I think it's so normal in society, but it shouldn't be. Okay. Another thing I wanted to talk about was maybe that's also linked to the topic from last week, but in our culture in Zimbabwe, I don't know in South Africa, but in Zimbabwe, it is normal for parents to say no to children without a reason. So, for example, maybe you want to climb a tree, and they'll just say, no, don't do that. If you do that, I'm going to hit you, right? But they never say, oh, don't climb that tree because if you fall, you could break your hand. Or don't play with electricity because it may electrocute you. Or don't play with candles because you could either burn yourself or burn the house down. It was always, no, don't do that. No, don't do that. Right? And I think that for for me, for example, especially with climbing trees, that was something that I would always sneak and do when my parents were not around because I couldn't understand why they're telling me not to climb a tree. The tree is there in the yard and it's fun for me to do so. So why not climb the tree? I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say. But children reason a lot more than we think. And because of that, I think that it's important to maybe try and give a reason when you're saying no to children. Like, no, don't do that because it's going to be harmful for you. Rather than, no, don't do that, I'm going to hit you. Because yeah, there's so many things that I could have avoided. I broke many bones in my body because of climbing trees. I think I broke this bone at some point. I had plaster here, my ankle as well, because I didn't understand why she was telling me not to climb the trees. But yes. Um, hmm. Remember, there's still a community judging you. Now you get it from home. Growing up, I used to be so insecure, and think I'm less beautiful because of my weight. Oh, that's true. That's true, Alice. When I was younger, I was also chubby, and it was because I don't know. Even now, I have the potential to grow a lot bigger, and because I haven't had children yet, I don't know how much. But when I was younger, I was chubby, and it's because I loved eating. Just like now, I still eat a lot. So when I was in school, they used to sing a song for me, the translation because it was in my language, but the translation is um, she's so big or she's so chubby, she's finished her mother's whole loaf of bread. So I used to get that at school. I don't remember my sisters making fun of me in that sense. So I was lucky with that. But of course, we made fun of each other in different ways. But I can imagine something that I'm insecure about and being teased at school, and then it comes back home. That's You need home to be your safe space. Worse, because at home we're all chubby, but they concentrated on me specifically. I don't eat a lot till today, but if they find you eating, they would remind you, oh no, of your weight. That doesn't make sense to me. So are you are you supposed to starve yourself? It's in the bone, especially if you're saying that everyone is chubby in your family. Yeah, it's in the bone. So wow. Yeah, I'm sorry you had to go through that, Alice, but I love the way you look. You are so beautiful, and yeah, I hope that you have gotten over that insecurity. I know it can be irritating when you hear it often, but you're absolutely gorgeous. You are absolutely gorgeous, and I love the way you look. But yeah, eating. I think that in most African families, we have this ability to play on each other's insecurities. Um, oh, I'm happy to hear that, Alice. I'm so happy to hear that because, yeah, children can be mean at times. So, yeah, like I said in the last live stream, children are very close to my heart, and they are a lot of things that we go through as children that we don't know how much they affect us when we're older. But I'm happy that you are comfortable in your lovely, gorgeous body now, Alice. Okay, so something else I wanted to speak about is oh yes, yeah. This is something very interesting for me as well. In my culture, we don't question elders. Um, we respect our elders, and I totally agree with that. We need to respect our elders. But as children, we were also taught not to question our elders, or to question what they do, or to question what they say. And because of that, I think it leaves a lot of room for children not to be able to communicate with us on what has been going on with them. So, for example, maybe a teacher said something that was not appropriate in class, and then you go home and you say, you wouldn't imagine what the teacher said. Immediately, in my culture, you would be stopped. I hope you don't want to say anything bad about your teacher. Remember, you should respect your elders. And I think that stops children from being comfortable in speaking with you, especially if something wrong actually happens. So, for example, in my culture, we I think, I don't know if it's a saying, but I always used to hear this: older people don't lie, right? Your elders don't lie. So whatever they say it has happened, or it will happen, or for example, maybe they made a promise to you, oh, I'm gonna take you to the park, and you say, you lied to me, you didn't take me to the park. The next thing is, older people don't lie, or elder people don't lie. So I think that, in as much as I believe that our elders need to be respected, I think that we also need to leave room for children to question some of the behaviors that elders do in order to protect them. Hey, life is not balanced. I was very tiny, like very slim, and that used to bother me a lot. And I thank God no one made fun about it. Now I'm loving myself and I don't care who says what about my weight. As long as my weight doesn't come with a health scare, I'm good. Yes, that's true, Alice. Um, Linda. Um, well, yeah, you are very lucky, I think. No child should go through people making fun of their parents in any way because we don't know how to process that as children, and we internalize it, and it affects us mentally. It affects our confidence. It affects our self-esteem. But as we grow older, we understand that everyone is unique. I couldn't think of a world where we all look the same, we all speak the same, we all have the same personality, the same weight, the same skin tone, the same skin color, the same eye color. How boring of a world would that be? And what would we learn from each other? And how colorful would that be? I just don't understand why children would um, well, children are children, right? They don't know what's right and what's wrong to say. But I feel like as we grow older, those traits should leave. But you can see that even as old as we are now, there are still people who are so insensitive to making fun of a person because of their appearance. Because what do you want the person to do, right? Um, there's an issue with colorism, and I will speak on that as well after this. But the issue with colorism, in my country, I don't know about South Africa, but even in America, they have this thing for light-skinned women, light-skinned women, light-skinned women. And for some time, unfortunately, in Zimbabwe, I remember the bleaching creams came in Zimbabwe, and there was this one lady from my church. Her skin was burnt, like completely burnt on one cheek because she was using some bleaching creams. Simply because society made fun of the darker skinned women, or they made them feel undesirable. And I I was lucky enough that I grew up with three older sisters who are different shades altogether. So I had representation of beautiful women who have different skin tones. My mom is very light skinned. Um, my older sister, one of my older sisters, is light skinned. But the other three of us were my other sisters dark skin and wore more middle tone, right? So because I have examples of that, and I think all of my sisters are beautiful, that didn't affect me up until I went to high school. And it was always, oh, the light skinned girls are pretty, the light skinned girls bath. That was the other thing. Don't you bath? Like you can scrub your skin until you get into a light skinned person. So yeah, that's also something that I never understood about skin tone and skin color. But yes, as we grow older, I wish we would all mature into understanding that we are all unique and different. Unless you're an identical twin, then okay. But even then, you have different personalities. So yeah, that's something that I also wanted to touch on because colorism in Africa, I think, is prominent. In Asia, because I speak to a lot of people from Asia, and they also speak about colorism, and in America as well. So um, yes, Alice, I love where you are now. Thank you, Linda. Yesterday, I think it would make things easier for parents if they told us reasons why we're not allowed to do certain things. Yes, I have to attend to someone, but I'll do that. Thank you, Linda. Thank you for being online. Okay, so I have only one more thing to touch on, and then I think I'll be done with the live for today. Because I thought I had a whole bunch of things to talk about, but It looks like my list was long, but my talking points were short. The last thing I wanted to talk about was communication. Communication with children. I'm always going to be talking about children because I'm passionate about children, but communication with children. Mutle, how are you? Thank you for joining the live. I was speaking about your point in comparing siblings just now. And I was saying that when I grew up with a lot of cousins and a lot of brothers and sisters, we had different traits, appearance wise and uh, personality. Yes, Mutle, I started 30 minutes ago. I'm running out of things to talk about. But we were all different. And when I was younger, w- when my aunts or my uncles would comment on someone else's beauty, I always took that as that person is beautiful and I'm ugly because I was a child. And I just wanted to speak on that, like the way we speak to our children, whether it's their appearance, their personality, um, how well they do in school is very important because it affects how they look at themselves. It also affects their self-esteem. So yes, the last thing I wanted to talk about was this issue of children playing together. I grew up in a house with only girls. Oh. Alice, we went through a lot when we were growing up. Believe me, we went through a lot because I think the adults they didn't have bad intentions, right? But they didn't know that we had our brains were not mature enough to understand that complimenting someone and speaking about someone else's skin tone or skin color might actually affect how they view themselves. I've been through this as well. I was called coffee color and I didn't understand why exactly. So we are all unique and that's our superpower, I think. So yes, I was saying that when I was growing up, I grew up with only sisters. So in my household, it was only girls. But when we went to the village, we always used to go to the village at Easter and Christmas, I think, because my other grandmother lived there. My other grandmother lived in town. So we would visit her more often than we would visit my paternal grandmother. So Easter and Christmas, maybe our Independence Day, but usually we would go on the big holidays and it would be all of my cousins from the village. Some of them were coming from different places. We would all gather there. So it was a bunch of cousins. And how we used to play, I think this is very common in all places because I was speaking to someone from Ghana, someone from Nigeria, and they said they also get these types of plays. So the mommy and daddy plays, right? Where they say, "Oh, I'm gonna be mommy, I'm gonna be daddy, and you're going to be the children." And unfortunately, when you're a big group of people like that, there are cousins that are 13 or 14, 15 or 16, and there are cousins that are 5, 6, or 7. And as you are playing mommy and daddy, my idea as a 5-year old of mommy and daddy is, oh, kids, it's time to go and watch TV. It's time to go and sleep. That's my idea. But as a 16-year-old, your idea of mommy and daddy is completely different. You know a lot more than you should, maybe because of the movies you watch, or maybe you've heard something that your parents have said, or yes, you've seen uh, people kissing in movies or something. So your idea of mommy and daddy is people kiss, right? And I was thinking back at it, and a lot of children were introduced to physical touch through this play of mommy and daddy. And because as parents, for example, my parents never talked about um, physical touch, like someone touching you, someone kissing you, someone, rubbing you in the wrong or inappropriate manner. They never spoke about that. Um, because in our culture, I think maybe it's not something you communicate, or it's something that's a taboo to speak about altogether. But there is an age appropriate way of speaking to children about such things. For example, you can just say, look, as your mom or as your dad, we are the only people who are allowed to touch your body, right? If anyone else touches your body or kisses you, that's wrong, and you should come and tell us. So, for example, those kind of plays are the type of playing is something I was only exposed to when I was in a bigger group of people with children, because like I told you, we never went for sleepovers. So how my sisters and I used to play was we would just run around, maybe play with paint or ink or something like that. We would watch cartoons. That's the kind of playing we would do. Like we're always running around or something like that. Very innocent, childlike play. And then when we're now introduced to a bigger group, there are different things that they know, different things that they're exposed to. Because in my household, even if there was like a kissing scene, the moment my parents suspect that these people are about to kiss, they'll switch off the TV, or they'll change the channel, or they'll say, okay, it's time for you to go to bed. So we were not exposed to that at a very young age. But other people might have been, so because of the mingling, you would now understand that, oh, okay, um, there's something like this. But because our parents don't speak about that, we don't know what is appropriate or what is not appropriate. And again, these are our family members, so you never think that, oh, this person has a bad intention, or what they're doing is something that they shouldn't be doing to me. So yeah, I think that in as much as we don't want to introduce children to some things early, we don't have to say it in like like we're speaking to someone who's 18 or someone who's 16, for example. Something as simple as, listen, as your mother, I'm the only one who's allowed to touch you. So if someone else touches you, whether it's uncle so and so or auntie so and so or your teacher or your friends from school, come and tell me exactly how it happened. So they can be free enough to tell you, and they also have it in their mind that, well, this might not be appropriate, right? Mm, the only time I would get compliments was when it comes to my schoolwork, because I was excelling in that department. That was given to me fairly. Wow. Um, that's that's something else I also wanted to touch on, right? When when I was younger, I don't remember having people compliment my looks, right? It's not important for people to compliment your looks, um, but to me it is, and I'll explain why. The first time I heard someone calling me beautiful, it was a boy. I don't remember if it was late primary school or early high school. But the first time someone called me beautiful, it was a boy. And I was shocked. And I felt special. I was like, oh, I'm beautiful? Now that gave that boy power over what I thought about myself, because he was the first person to compliment me. He I think he complimented my skin tone as well, because I was, like I said, I was a little bit insecure about my skin tone. I think when I started going to high school, because like I said, a lot of people used to like light skinned girls, right? So I was insecure about that. Then he called me, I think he called me butterscotch or caramel or whatever, not too light, not too dark, but just in the middle. And then the way he said it was like, oh, I like butterscotch girls, right? So that gave him power over what I thought about myself. And I felt like, oh, he likes me, so he's the only person who can like me in this world. So that also gave him power over me mentally, right? And I think that it is good for parents to compliment your children, right? You're beautiful. I love the way your skin looks. Oh, you have such a beautiful body. I love your hair. Yes, hair as well. Um, that's another issue. But I love the way you talk. Yes, it's important to compliment your children when they're doing well at school or they're doing well at sports. But the first point of a child's security in their appearance should come from home. So that when it comes from outside, it's not something so exciting that they will do anything with or for that boy, for example. So yeah, I think that's really, really important. Your first point of esteem with your parents should be from home. I think that's sadly our childhood stories as the dark girlies, Alice. True, true. Um, Mushle, I was giving an example of one of my cousins who was complimented by my aunt, and my aunt called her Black Beauty. And that's because she also had insecurities about her appearance and her skin tone, because she had gone to high school. So I think it all starts when we go to high school. At home, you don't really think about it because everyone at home is nice to you. But then when you go to primary school or when you go to high school, people start complimenting your skin tone. So my aunt, I think in her way of trying to build her esteem, she was calling her Black Beauty. But as the younger cousin, I didn't understand why I was also not being called Black Beauty, right? And to me, it was like, oh, so I'm not beautiful, right? And yeah, my aunt and my grandmother had to tell me, yeah, okay, yes, she's a Black Beauty, but you're also beautiful in your skin color, right? But yeah, unfortunately, our society has a certain skin tone, a certain body type that they say this is the beautiful woman, and it flows through even with children. So in high school especially, a lot of children go through this thing of being made fun of. I'm just glad that playing homes, I was always a child. Thinking of it now, inappropriate things were done by the mummies and daddies of those plays. Yes, Alice, I'm telling you, so many people were exposed to touching and physical things during those plays, just because it was normal. Eh, I don't remember who I was. I think I played everything: mommy, daddy, child. But I don't know if I suppressed the memory, if anything inappropriate happened. But yeah, a lot of things happened to us when we were younger. Mushle, being chubby and black, yeah, extremely it's extremely traumatic, I think, when we are younger. Exactly, Dre. And that made you feel so special because you never heard it before. Exactly. And that gives that person power over you. And I think a lot of people don't realize that. Um, I try to do that every time, Dre. The compliments build a child's confidence. Thank you, Alice. Yes. Thank you for being a super mommy because we need that. I know I needed that as a child, and when I have children, I'm definitely going to do that as well. That's when I discovered my beauty for myself. My daughters will be told by me every single day, Uguti, you're beautiful, smart, and worthy. Thank you, Mutle. That's beautiful. You're doing amazing, Mama. Thank you so much. Yes. You were a child as well. Exactly. I just thought, what about me? What about me? Why aren't I getting the compliments as well? Ah, guys, so that's all I had to talk about for today. But thank you so much for your contributions. I think it's amazing what you're doing with your children, and I think it's a learning experience as well for everyone because I had a discussion about this with my mom. Some of the things that we went through when we were children, some of the things I've seen change in her when she speaks to her grandchildren. So, like I said before, I have like eight nieces and nephews, and the way my parents relate to my nieces and nephews and how they related to us when we were growing up is completely different. And something she said to me was um, they were learning as well because it was their first experience being parents. So now that they have that experience, the way I grew up with my parents was completely different from how my older siblings grew up with my parents because we had such a huge age difference. So the relationship they saw with me and my parents was a little bit more lenient, and we could speak about things and they would allow me to do more things than what they allowed my older sisters to do. But with my nieces and nephews, my parents don't just say no. They say, no, don't do this because it's going to hurt you. And I asked my mom, but how come you never did that with us? And her answer was, well, it was a learning experience for us as well. That was our first time being parents. So we just did what our parents did, and we thought that was right, and we did it in that way. And like I said previously, I love how strict my parents were because they protected us from a lot of things. But yeah, they also learned more things as they went. So I just hope and pray that as people who went through certain stuff, it teaches us, as it has taught you, Muhle and Alice, to build your children's confidence. So yeah, that's amazing. We are doing amazing. I'm glad us as parents were raising our kids differently now. Yes, definitely, Alice. I'm happy about that as well. Yes, that's what makes grandparents loved by grandkids. When I see my parents with their grandkids, I'm always thinking these are not the same parents I grew up with. You're too soft now. But yeah, I think also because they don't have the responsibility of raising them, they can be a lot more soft, a lot more lenient. They don't have to think about, oh, these are the rules that we have to set. That's now on the parents, right? So you have to be strict with your children, but your parents don't have to be strict with your children. They just give them everything they want. That's why I always love to go to my grandmother's house because every day she comes from work, chocolate. I would finish the bread and she would buy more bread. It was so leisurely like. But yeah, I think that I'm happy that we have learned a lot from our own experiences and we can raise our children in a different manner. Um, exactly, Alice. Who are these people? Because these people are so new. They can laugh with their grandchildren. They can let their grandchildren play with their ears and their hair. That's not what I grew up with as well. Even with younger siblings, my mom is so soft with my siblings. I now play her role being the strict parent. Exactly. Exactly. That's how my sisters saw my parents' relationship when, especially when I was in university. They had lightened the strictness a little bit, and they were like, how are you able to even go to the movies? Because when we were younger, impossible. You couldn't even go and play outside of the gate. That's how strict my parents were. You could not step outside of the gate to ride your bicycle or just run around in the street. If they saw you outside of the gate, it was a big problem. You have to play inside the gate. But my parents were allowing me to go for a birthday party or a graduation party, or they were allowing me to go for movies. Me? So yeah, my sisters were so shocked. They were so shocked. Okay, guys, so yes, I've run out of things to say. I've run out of things to say, so I think I'm gonna end the live here. Thank you so much for contributing to this discussion. I wish I could take screenshots of these comments. Actually, I'm just gonna do that now before I end the live, because this is um this is very helpful for me, especially because I don't have any children yet. So I just want to learn from everyone and learn from my own experiences, learn from what I see online, especially what I see online, because I see a lot of people going through different things, and I'm always thinking, how am I going to shield my children from this? How am I going to shield my children for this? So, yeah. That's why I thought I would just want to talk about this topic. Yeah. I think it does, Alice. I think every grandparent is like this with their grandchildren. I was reading the comments now, and wow, man, the information conversation that was had here. Yes, Mutle. You know what? I'm gonna try and start my lives, because usually I do 9:30, my 9:30 to like maybe 10:30 here. So maybe I will start at my 10, which would be your 9 o'clock. Maybe people would be done with um what they have to do in the morning, or they've woken up or something like that. Maybe I'll try starting the live later, so you don't people don't miss the conversation. I'll try and do it like that. Wait. Okay, I don't know what happened to my network. So, because I can't see. Oh, okay, so you can see me. I don't know, on my phone I can't see what's going on, but yeah. I will start the conversations later. I'm sure I'm gonna go live next week. I don't know if I'll go live this weekend, but maybe. And also, Alice, my laptop is just playing you today. So I'm hoping you will get the watch hours from that. Thank you so much, guys, for joining. This was a very insightful conversation. Thank you so much for your contributions. I really appreciate it, because I'm here to learn. So thank you so much, and I will see you in someone's live, or I'll see you in videos. Thank you so much. I will see you. Bye. Bye, guys. Yes, please. I was still getting the kids ready and cleaning up. Okay. All right. Okay. So I will be starting later. Starting from next week. I missed the last part. Thanks, Trey. Thank you, Linda. Okay, guys. I love you so much. Bye.